purity of fresh morning dew, hopes of childhood, sweated labor of sons of soil, optimism of a community, all unified by a large-scale agro-industrial enterprise, have resuscitated a regional economy and built a flourishing community in the eastern province of Sri Lanka. The history of Gal Oya sugar industry goes back to the early days of independent Sri Lanka, when the government started an ambitious Gal Oya Valley development project. Gal Oya is symbolic of the new Lanka. May it obtain fulfillment speedily and herald the progress of our march towards self-sufficiency. Envisioned the Right Honourable D.S. Senanayake, the father of modern Sri Lanka. Gal Oya Sugar was the most massive, vertically integrated agricultural and industrial complex ever to establish in Sri Lanka. This giant agro-industrial complex sustained the economy of a whole region for nearly 4 decades before it became non-operational due to industrial unrest and poor management. The closure of the plantation and the factory in 1997 led to the loss of livelihood to thousands, and the region encountered a decade-long economic slump. A new era of hope arrived in 2007 when the government of Sri Lanka, together with Brown and Company PLC and LOLC Holdings PLC, formed Gal Oya Plantations Private Limited, which today is an epitome of a successful public-private partnership. The government owns 51% of Gal Oya Plantation Limited for the land and pre-existed physical assets. The Browns LOLC consortium infused fresh capital of over 4 billion rupees for the balance of 49% of the equity and carried the full weight of the financial risk. LOLC and Browns introduced professional management and technical expertise in all aspects of farming and processing, and provided funding, saplings, fertilizer and services to the farmers to grow sugarcane in nearly 5,000 hectares of abandoned farmland. A restoration of the region's economy has made the once sleepy township of Hingurana a bustling commercial centre. A host of other businesses such as financial services, retail, healthcare and ancillary education has arrived in the area. The number of people benefited by the industry's revival is unprecedented in the region. Today, the company employs 925 and engages 5,200 farmer families, thus directly impacting the lives of over 18,000. The revival of the industry has indirectly benefited many thousands more.
නැගිනහිර යෝධයා වශයෙන් මේ හඳුන්වලා තියෙනවා. ඒක වැහුණාන් පස්සේ මිනිස්සුන්ට මේ ප්‍රදේශයේ ආදායමක් නැතු තත්ත්වයක් තිබ්බේ. ඉතින් මේ ප්‍රදේශයේ ආදායමක් ලැබෙන්න පටන් ගත්තා. අපි අවුරුද්දකට බිලියන් 2ක් පමණ මේ ප්‍රදේශයට මුදල් ලබා දෙනවා. ඒක මිනිසුන්ගේ ආදායම් තත්ත්වයක් වැඩි වෙලා ගොවියන්ගෙන් 500ක් විතර ට්‍රැක්ටර් අරගෙන. දැන්ට අපේ ප්‍රවාහනය කරන්නේ අපේ කර්මාන්තශාලාවට ගොවින්ගේ ට්‍රැක්ටර්. ඒ ප්‍රදේශයේ ඇත්තම හොඳම උදාහරණය තමයි මුරාන් නගරය. මුරාන් නගරේ වැහිලා තිබ්බේ.
එවකට නගරයේ සියලුම වෙළඳසැල් 6-7 වෙනකොට වසා තිබුණා. නමුත් අද ගල් වෙලි සමාගම ආරම්භ කිරීම සමග 10-11 වෙනකන් ව්‍යාපාරික ප්‍රජාවන් ප්‍රදේශයේ ජනතාව සියල්ලක්ම පරිහරණය කරන සමාජය තුළ මේ ගල් වෙලි සමාගමෙන් කරන කාර්ය වටිනාකමක් ඇති බව.
இந்த சீனி ஃபேக்டரியுடைய மக்களுக்கு இருக்கக்கூடிய மாற்றம் என்னென்னு சொன்னால் தொழில் வாய்ப்பால் அவங்களுக்கு அந்த சீனி ஃபேக்டரியால் அதிகமான முறையில் மக்களுக்கு அந்த தொழில் அதிக அளவு பொருளாதார ரீதியில் மற்றது பண ரீதியில் வந்து அவங்க உயர்த்தப்படுகிறாங்க. இதை கொண்டு மக்கள் குடும்பத்தை வந்து மிகவும் நீண்ட காலமாக நீண்ட நேரமாக ஒரு சந்தோஷமான நிலைமையில் அந்த குடும்பங்களை பராமரித்து கொண்டு போகக்கூடிய வாய்ப்புகளும் இந்த சீனி ஃபேக்டரியால் இருந்து கொண்டிருக்கிறது.
Since 2007, the company has injected over 9 billion rupees to the region's economy. That includes 2,500 million rupees paid as salaries and wages, 5,000 million rupees paid to farmers, 2,000 million rupees paid to local services providers, and 135 million rupees paid as local taxes.
Browns pioneered the modernization of the plantation industry in the 19th century and the mechanization of agriculture. LOLC is at the forefront of promoting financial inclusion and lifting millions out of poverty. Taking up the challenge of rebuilding Hingurana Sugar, one of the largest agro-industrial complexes in Sri Lanka, is a natural extension of our ongoing nation-building efforts.
We challenge conventional wisdom and prove that import substitute manufacturing is in fact feasible, commercially viable. Collaboration between public and private sector creates a very effective way of succeeding in businesses which involve deep community outreach.
Not everyone shares the same optimism. Given the string of unsuccessful attempts to revive the business in the past, some members of the community were skeptical about the renewed attempt.
අපිට සැකෙන් හිටියා මේ ෆැක්ටරි දෙතුන් පාරක් වහලා දැම්මනේ. ඒකන් මේ සමාගම ඇවිල්ලා කිව්වා හරි අපි මේ විශ්වාස කරන්න අපි මේ මට්ටමට ගන්නවා කියලා. ඒකන කට්ටිය අපි කතා වුණා බොයිලර් බටෙන් දුන් ගියපු දවසක අපි මේ වැඩේ කරගෙන යන්න දිගටම කියලා.
අපි බය වුණා හැබැයි ගල්වැලි සමාගමත් පැල්වත් සමාගම වගේ අංග දාලා යයිද කියන චේතනාව තිබ්බා අපි ගාව. අපි ඒකටත් පොඩ්ඩක් ඇහැ යොමු කරා. මොකද ඒගොල්ලෝ තරගොල්ලෝ වගේ අනාථ කළා දාලා ගියොත් එම අපේ ඉඩම් ආපහු තිබ්බ විදිහට ආපහු කැලෙත් වෙනවා මුකුත් කරගන්න බැරුව.
When Browns and LOLC took over the business, the factory resembled a giant junkyard. The sight of derelict and abandoned giant machinery was demoralizing and depressing.
Years of neglect had rendered the factory derelict and non-functional. Farmers not willing to come back to sugarcane cultivation, and they did not believe that us will be able to get the factory back into the operation. And getting back this 5,000 hectares of plantation back into sugarcane was not an easy task. And the main reason being that most of this land have been converted into any other crops.
විශේෂයෙන්ම අපි රිසර්ච් ඇන්ඩ් ඩෙවලොප්මන්ට් කරන්නේ උප්‍රභේද ගණනාවෙන් වඩාත්ම සුදුසු මොකක්ද මොන වගාවද මොන ප්‍රදේශයට සුදුසු වෙන්නේ මොන ප්‍රභේදයේද මොන පොහොරද හොඳටම ඒ වර්ගවලට ප්‍රතිචාර දක්වන්නේ ඒ වගේම උග්ගහේ අවශ්‍ය කරන ප්‍රශස්ත තත්ත්වය දිගටම පවත්වාගෙන ගිහිල්ලා අපේ ශාස්ත්‍ර විද්‍යාඥයන්ගේ අනුමැතිය පරිදි ඒ බීජ ලබා දෙනවා.
Sustenance of a large scale requires the support of all the stakeholders. The collaboration and commitment of the farming community were essential to turn around the industry. However, not everyone was optimistic. The farmers' experience with the past failed attempts to rebuild the business was bitter.
ඒ ගොවින් ගාවට ගිහිල්ලා ප්‍රශ්න මොනවද කියලා අපි හඳුනාගත්තා. මුලින්ම කරේ නිලධාරීන්ගෙන් වෙන්න ඕන යුතුයකම හැටියට ගොවිය ගාවට ගිහිල්ලා ඔයාලට තියෙන ප්‍රශ්න මොනවද? අපි ආයතනයක් හැටියට කරන්න යන්නේ මොකද්ද? අපි මේකෙන් බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන දේ මොනවද? ප්‍රදේශයේ තිබුණ පාරවල් ටික හැදුවා මේ ප්‍රදේශේ. පාරවල් ටික හදලා ඇලවේලි ටික සුද්ධ කරලා නැවත ලස්සනට වතුර ගේන්න පුළුවන් විදිහට මේ ටික හදලා මිනිස්සුන්ට ගිහිල්ලා කිව්වා මෙන්න අපි ඔයාලගේ වැඩ පටන් ගත්ත ප්‍රදේශේ එන්න අපිත් එක්ක යමු වෙන කියලා. ඉතින් කීප දෙනෙක් මුලින්ම අපිත් එක්ක අතර සම්බන්ධ වුණා. අනිත් කට්ටිය සම්බන්ධ කර ගැනීමට ලොකු ගැටලුවක්. අපිට සමහර අවස්ථාවලදී ඔය අපිත් එක්ක ගහ ගන්න ආව මිනිසුන්ට අපිට සිද්ධ වුණා නිලධාරියෙක් එක්ක ගිහිල්ලා ගේදරට ගිහිල්ලා කතා කරන්න.
විහෙර විහාරස්ථාන ආශ්‍රය කරගෙන ගමේ පන්සලේ හාමුදුරුවෝ දිගාමල්ලු දිගන්තයේ සියලුම පන්සල්වල හාමුදුරුවෝ ගොවියෝ එක්රොක් කරලා ගොවියන්ට කරුණු කාරණා පැහැදිලි කරලා නැවත ගල්ඔය වැවිලි සමාගමට බද්ධ වුණාට පස්සේ ගොවියෝ ඒ පිළිබඳව වැඩි අවධානයක් යොමු කරලා 2004 වසරේ සිට මේ කාල පරාසය වෙනතෙක් ගල්ඔය වැවිලි සමාගමත් එක්ක බොහොම ලස්සනට මේ උග්ගහේ කතාන්දරය උග්ගහ වර්ධනය කරගෙන මේ පළාතම ශාස්ත්‍රික කරගෙන යන පාට අපිට මේ වෙනකොටත් පේන බව අපිට පේනවා.
Through our action, we showed our determination in developing or rebuilding this whole organization back, which has gradually led winning the community and the employees' commitment.
Oya Plantation Limited is championing environmentally conscious manufacturing in Sri Lanka. The end-to-end production process is designed to deliver the most efficient use of raw materials and natural resources and to minimize carbon footprint.
The operation at Oya Plantations is usually referred to as a 360-degree green project. The energy requirement from external sources is minimal in Oya operations. The sugarcane that is brought to the factory is crushed at the factory premises, and the boiler which is used to fuel and power this crushing of sugarcane is fueled by the bagasse itself. Bagasse is what is residue from crushing sugar cane. And once the sugar is extracted, what is left is processed as molasses. Molasses is fueled into the distillery which is built at the Oya Plantations to create ethanol. The residue what is left is referred to as press mud, and that again is something which cannot be released to the environment, and that is used to process and create fertilizer. Independent of these operations, as a byproduct of sugar manufacture, there is carbon dioxide that is manufactured, and that is something which is used in the carbonated drinks industry as well as for hospitals. Sugarcane, as you probably know, is one of the agricultural products that uses least amount of water as opposed to something like paddy.
Having achieved operational and financial viability within a decade, Oya Plantation Limited is now embarking on the second wave of investment. The company will invest 3 billion rupees on new projects to generate 10 megawatts of electricity and large volumes of carbon dioxide and biofertilizer. These projects will create 1,500 direct and 15,000 indirect employment opportunities.
The current management is very capable and dynamic. They will be reaching 5,000 hectares this year, and the production of sugarcane will come to 400,000 tons. With that, they will produce 36,000 tons of sugar as well as ENA, which is again saving of foreign exchange for the country. Plus, the company has plans to go for the eco-friendly power generation using molasses. So, with this, company can more and more contribute to the rural economy plus to the national economy by the way of import substitution and the food security.
By investing in a vision of shared value creation, focusing on long-term success, galvanizing tens of thousands of people with a shared vision, promoting industry and community harmony, and building an effective private-public partnership, Oya Plantation Limited has emerged as a shining example in Sri Lanka's business landscape. Oya Plantation will continue its journey of creating shared value as a bellwether enterprise in Sri Lankan industry.